Hello and welcome to the Rock Your Voice podcast. Vocal coaching tips that will transform your voice, interviews that will inspire, industry guidance, and so much more. Without further ado, let's get on with the show. Hello, and good morning. My voice is a little rusty right now. It's very early here for me, but I was all inspired and motivated to record right away because I woke up to have been tagged in an Instagram story. One of my amazing clients, Dana, she is a very, very highly classically trained singer. And she wants to rock out a little bit more. She really wants to learn to connect to her genuine sound. Now, this is something that's very common. I see this a lot, is clients who have been trained really well. And this whole episode, honestly, nothing I say here is a dig at classical technique. I have to give a shout out to the late, great, phenomenal Ron Anderson, who his whole method was based initially on like the bel canto method. And he worked with people like Axl Rose, Adele, Freddie Mercury, so there is a lot to be said for classical approaches crossing over into commercial and pop and rock. However, it can be really challenging for singers who have worked for many years, really committing themselves to the technique of classical singing, who suddenly feel like they have lost the connection to their genuine sound and their genuine voice. It's like they begin to sing and they start to present. It's like suddenly everything sort of gears up to match or kind of check off all of the elements that are required for perfect technique. And in doing that, they kind of lose the essence of themselves. They're the real kind of soul of their voice and their sound. While everything still sounds absolutely amazing, like I said, all the boxes are checked, they're hitting all the marks, this is all strategically perfect, it's technically accurate, but there's just something missing that it's like, yes, that's a beautiful voice, that's wonderfully presented singing. However, it's hard sometimes to tell who is singing and how to connect emotionally to the story behind the song, especially if you are transitioning from singing the songs that were written for that style, and then you come over to sing, say, a rock or a pop song, and suddenly you're like, just a small town girl. And it's like, whoa, okay, this feels weird. This sounds weird. This is not quite right. How do I get my brain to relax and allow me to be a bit more gritty and raw and real with what I'm trying to do with my instrument? And this is the key. It is not about what your instrument can or cannot do. It's what your brain has been trained to allow it to do. It's really important to think about this as like muscle memory and your brain being ready to activate and perform a certain task versus relaxing and letting the expression out. This often uncovers quite a lot of stuff in lessons. It's really interesting. Especially if you were put into classical training when you were young, and this is literally just like how your instrument performs, and you are so conditioned into what is right, what is wrong. Also, it is a very protective mechanism from stopping the vulnerability of your genuine voice coming through. So, like I said, when we start exploring this, oftentimes there's quite a lot of emotion that comes out when the voice is suddenly allowed to do whatever it does completely naturally, without an effect, without technique, without strategy, and this kind of bubble around it that is like, we are performing, to suddenly strip that away in a healthy way that doesn't suddenly make your voice
put it in a place of danger. We're not suddenly stripping away all this perfect technique that makes it really rough and raw in the way that it's like, yeah, now we're just going to hit it. It's like, no, we're coming at it with another healthy technique, but we're going to allow your genuine natural sound to come out a lot more clearly. And this can uncover a lot of subconscious emotion, because what we don't realize a lot of the time is that we are covering up a lot in our voices. Our voices are the key to our soul, essentially. Okay, this is getting really deep. It's only like 6 o'clock in the morning here. I've only had one coffee, but here I am telling you the voice is the key to your soul. Clearly need more coffee. But it really is. It's the very first way that we are able to express ourselves. You come out as a baby, you start screaming. You're like, what is this world? And that's the first way we learn to express ourselves. We laugh, we cry, we scream, we do all of those things before we can even speak. Our voice is our purest form of expression. So when you start to train it to behave in a certain way that is based upon theories and ideas of like, this is the perfect way to sing, this is how you should sound, this is the right way to do it, it's very weird when you take that back off again and you go back to like, this is the natural, effortless, genuine, free way to let your voice come out and let people hear you, not let people hear you perform a perfect technique. It's like painting by numbers. So everyone can create the same piece of art if you've got the same paints and you're told where to put the right dots of the right colors. But then you take away the dots and you know, being told exactly where to put it and be like, hey, here's the idea, go paint the picture. It's going to be different for absolutely everyone. I sort of compare classical to painting by numbers in the sense that it's so strategic that there is a right and there is a wrong. And if you miss the mark, in a lot of instances, clients that I've worked with have a really hard time releasing their genuine sound because it's almost like they're prepared to be yelled at. It's like, I've been told to hold this back all my life. I've been told this is wrong. I've been told this is incorrect. This is so it's like, I feel for these people because it is a really hard door to step through. And when you start exploring more commercial techniques, more sort of rock, pop, all of that kind of stuff, it's not going to completely eliminate all of your classical training. It is a mindset shift and it is an addition to your toolkit. You're still going to be able to go back and tap into that amazing technique that you've worked so hard on building in your life. You can still go back there whenever you want, but we are adding to your toolkit to open things up in a bit of a different way. Whether you choose to go back there is an entirely different thing. But like I said this morning, I really wanted to talk about this because my client has been working so hard to release her genuine voice and just be able to tap into like a mixed voice, we were working on a Jessie J song. And that's a very big switch in direction to what she was trained singing. So, and she's nailing it. She's doing really, really well. But the most important thing, the thing that brings me the most joy in all of this is that she's having so much fun. And it's like, yeah, that sounds like you. That doesn't just sound like a really great singer imitating Jessie J. This sounds like you singing a Jessie J song and singing it with all your heart and having so much fun doing it. I'm going to try, I have it in my stories, but I'm going to try and make it like a permanent thing. I've put it in the highlights under clients. So you'll see her if you head over to my Instagram at Rocket Vocal Studios. She's singing, I forget the name of it. Anyway, it's Jessie J track and she's working really hard on it. This was our first day doing it and she was hitting some really cool stuff. So one thing that we did do actually that might help you is when we were singing along with the track on YouTube, there is a setting where you can slow it down. And we were really looking at where every note resonates in her body. Not how she can manipulate every note, not how she can control every note, not how she can make every vowel round and open and full, but just where everything feels like it belongs. So we really looked at that. We slowed it down so that she could really map out where everything sits and feels comfortable and natural. And then we sped it back up and it was like, whoa, everything's sitting in the right place. It was really, really cool. So go check that out if you're interested to see what she's working on. But some things to really think about if you are wanting to make that transition is, first of all, be ready for the vulnerability. It's going to feel hard to suddenly let go of leaning on these techniques to kind of cover up that vulnerability of who you are, what your sound is, what your genuine tone is like. Let it be messy. And I say that to so many people, and I appreciate how hard it is to do when you've been trained on accuracy. So just explore, let things be messy. Don't worry about pitch too much. Don't worry about sing through a song just to explore your voice. Just once. No one's listening. No one cares. Just, and feel observe how that feels in your body and your mind. Are you freaking out within the first verse? This feels like I'm on a tightrope. This feels like I'm on roller skates going down a mountain. Just explore that. What's your reaction? Or are you this is fun, or this is easy? Just kind of explore your reaction to letting things just be messy and a little bit effortless and free and a bit wild. Tap back into that voice that screamed for the first time when you came into this world and announced your presence. Just get back into that, okay? So some technical things, if your brain is really struggling with being free and going into that, there's some things that are going to help you. So just keep in mind things like vocal tone and placement. So for classical, you're focusing on those round open vowels, the resonance, the pure tone, thinking about lifting your soft palate and all of that. For rock, pop, commercial stuff, we're thinking more of a speech level connection. Okay, it's a bit more brighter, it's a bit edgier. Just think about taking your speaking voice into a melodic space. So this is going to be a real wild example because, like I said, it's very early here and I sound a little like Marge Simpson today. But we're going to I'm speaking and now I'm going to sing and it sounds like me. Versus I'm speaking, now I'm going to sing and it sounds like this. Okay, so that was beautiful, I know. Album's coming out very soon. Just kidding. So your breath support. Classical is so thinky about breath. Obviously, you need good breath support no matter what you're doing with your singing voice. But we want to kind of chill it out. We want more of a state of flow with commercial rock pop. Obviously, if you are doing a massive stage production with a ton of dancing and movement and all that stuff, you're going to have to think a lot more. But if you're just going to be standing there with your guitar, you want everything to be chill. You don't want to suddenly be thinking diaphragm, shoulders, blah, 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 all these things and clogging your brain. You want the flow to be really natural and effortless. There is an entire episode on the weekly vocal workout where I do a treadmill training for your cardio and your breath for singing if you are hitting the stage or if you do get performance anxiety and your breath runs out on stage. I'll put the links to the weekly vocal workout in the show notes if you're interested in that kind of stuff. There's a whole bunch of training you can do for breath, but the focus is a little less intense. Things like distortion and tapping into your little kind of sprinkles of gold. I like to kind of look at them everyone has a very unique sprinkle that they put into how they sing. And most of the time people don't even realize they're doing it yet until I'll be working with someone. I'm like, that thing that you do. And they're like, what thing? I'm like, do it again and we'll listen. And it'll be like, that is your signature move. Never change that. So, and those are things that would be ironed right out with classical training. It's like, nope, that does not fit in this world. Let's eliminate that. So all of these magical things that when people hear you sing, they're like, that's Amanda. That's Sergio, whoever. Those are the things that like your signature move that people will recognize you for. Okay. And along with that comes things like some vocal distortion. Maybe you like to do a bit of growly stuff, or a bit of like fry, a grit going into your voice. So long as you're doing this safely, and there are many ways you can learn to do all of this safely, these are things that can also add to your genuine sound. But these are like, distortion specifically is a filter that you would put on top of your genuine sound. It's something you can add once you've established a really safe, connected foundation to your genuine natural voice. So for example, the client that I'm speaking about, she was saying, oh yeah, but I want to make this sound a bit thicker, a bit more beltier, a bit more, I want to add some growl here and stuff. And I love her because she likes to jump the gun a little bit from time to time. And I'm like, whoa, no, we got to get that foundation down. You've got to get everything safe, secure, and like really healthy before we start adding the sprinkles on the top, like the extra filters. So make sure everything's feeling awesome, then play with other things. So vibrato is another big one. Like classical singing often uses like a consistent vibrato. Like you can think of people like, say, Freddie Mercury used to use it. And again, like I said, there's that correlation between the bel canto training. But yeah, and there's a time and a place, like The Darkness. I believe in a thing called love, rhythm of my heart. There's all that kind of like crossover of like going from that really round sound and then that like where it goes to that thin classic rock tone. So play it. Like if you're like highly classically trained, this is awesome. You have a whole new section in your toolkit. And depending on what style of music you enjoy singing, like go have fun with that. We're not trying to remove anything, we are adding to. But the big one, the really big one, is like the phrasing and the emotion, like really digging into your genuine sound, connecting to the emotion behind what you're singing and allowing that to shine through. This, again, I'm going to say it, it can be hard. It can make you feel very vulnerable. You can uncover a lot of judgments about your voice, not only from yourself being like, oh, this feels weak, this feels wobbly, this feels unnatural. It feels easy. Therefore, I'm going to judge myself that I'm not working as hard as I should be or trying as hard as I should be. Don't freak out if it feels really easy and effortless, and don't start adding weird stuff on top of it. Let it be easy. If it's easy, you're good at it, and that is okay. All right. So that kind of side of things is so important. Just training the brain. It can be easy, it can be effortless, and that is absolutely okay. So be aware that some things might come up. You might start hearing like previous coaches being like, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Yes, if it was a song that you wanted to sing in a classical style, it would be wrong. But if you're moving over to a different technique, it's like driving a NASCAR car on a Formula One track. This is all wrong and very dangerous. So let's put the right car on the right track here, okay? You're not going to ride a Bronco at Ascot Racecourse. Let's get the right tools for the job here. Oh, need another coffee, and my metaphors are running low here. But yes. So this is, I think, where I'm going to end this. But I think go try. Don't be afraid to be messy. Pick a song that you can connect to emotionally and just let it out. See what happens and observe. Do not analyze and fix. Okay? You're not going to correct yourself. I'd love you to give yourself a day of singing, or a week of singing, or a month. Like, this is my month-long experience. Oh, now I want to do like a challenge. Oh, should we do like a month-long or like a 1 week release your voice challenge? Yes, let's do it. Oh, I hate this. I do this every morning. I get really excited about new ideas, and then I do these things, and then I have too much to do. But I think this could be a really good idea. Okay, make sure you follow Rocket Vocal Studios on Instagram, because very soon I will be launching the Release Your Voice, Find Your Genuine Sound challenge. And we're going to see what we can do, because I think you should give yourself a week to let it be messy, let it decompress, and let's explore what's underneath all of that amazing, wonderful, valuable technique, to see what your voice can also do alongside of that. All right, if you're in, send me a message at rocketvocalstudios.com emma@rocketvocalstudios.com if you want to send me an email, or make a comment here on the podcast, or feel free to message me on social media. And I think that's a challenge that could be really fun to do, because so many people, you are not alone if you're like, what does my real voice sound like? I have been overtrained. I cannot sing and connect to my voice anymore. The emotion is gone. I sound phenomenal. I would pass all my Royal School of Music grading things, but I don't know what my voice sounds like anymore. Let's do this. Let's uncover the voice within. Oh, I need more coffee. I'm getting all dramatic. All right. Have a phenomenal day. Have a phenomenal week. And I will be back with very more. I really need that coffee. With a lot more soon. But please reach out if you have any questions, and I will see you next time.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and if you feel inclined to leave a review, I truly, truly appreciate it. You can check out all things voice at rocketvocalstudios.com. That's ROCKIT vocalstudios.com. And follow me on social too at Rocket Vocal Studios. Thanks again for listening, and I'll be back with lots more for you very, very soon.